Hello, welcome to Flory Models Daily Vlog. Here we are on Monday the 21st of March 2016, and to be honest I have been running around doing loads of little bits and pieces. We've been sorting out wash and sanders and various bits and pieces like that, as well as Monday tends to be paperwork and organising all subscriptions and all those busy things like that. So to be honest, I haven't actually got any time on the bench at all, which is a bit disappointing, but I might spend this evening basically getting the Halifax together. As I said, we're no further forward than we were on Friday. That said, the next part of that is up on the site now, and we've got a little clip here somewhere if I can get this going. So basically it's talking about putting the engine nacelles all together using the resin aftermarket parts. We also weather and take care full of the interior as well. So we just used a couple of colours of wash to go through it and everything else, and basically bring it somewhat together. The next part of this one is going to be all about doing the colour photo etch set, and then obviously bringing it all together. It's only a 25-minute part, it's a little bit shorter than normal, but we talk about actually using the resin, cutting it, fitting it, as you can see, and everything else like that. So as you said, it's one of those things, very straightforward. It's one of the best aftermarket parts I've used on that one, and it literally is a drop-in fit with a little bit of super glue. But we still go in there with a little bit of the Tamiya filler just to make it just a little bit better. Anyway, that is up on the site now. You can go off and see that one, and then obviously, you know, make your way through on that one, and the next parts will really get it going again. I want to get this one together, get it into primer and everything else. I have to say, I have copped out a little bit. I know we did the green work. We just changed cameras here. Hopefully the other one is going to come in. There we go. So as you can see, we've got some green. This is using that new mask oil stuff. This stuff, which I absolutely love. As I said, it's got no rubbery texture to it. It's literally just like paint. But I must admit, I didn't fancy doing the entire thing. So what I've actually done is I've bought the mask set, right way around, there we go. So we've got the mask set, sorry, a bit of delay on the cameras today, I will get this box sorted out. But basically we've got this one, so for the framework around the canopy, the guns and everything else like that, I'm actually going to cop out and do that. And as I said, speaking to some members recently, and we're saying like bang for your buck, you know, if you are in that thing where masking is a complete nightmare, and let's face it, World War II aircraft is a nightmare. It's one of those things where, you know, you can spend so much time on your model, make it look nice, but if your canopies aren't right, because all that glass, it can really come back and bite you quite hard, okay? So by using a die-cut mask set that's designed for it and all the rest of it, although it could be seen as a bit of a cop-out, to me, I think it's probably one of the simplest decisions to make. They've done all the hard work, so you don't have to. Mask it up, base coat of black down, and then go over it with your camo and all the rest of it as you would normally do. Okay, and that way you get a nice solid looking framing work. But when you're doing complex curves, as I said, guns, you know, turrets on the front and upper turrets, things like that, they're very complex on the curve, so it's pretty hard to actually get in there and do it yourself. But as you say, if Edard had come along and done one, or Mortex, or everybody else it is, then for me it's an easy answer. So that's why I've gone down that route. I got that in quickly over the weekend, so we're all set to go with that. There's a couple of bits I want to talk about today. Literally, the first is these. Now, these were sent to me by Patrick. Now, Patrick has actually done his bit of research, and what this is, you all know I use these guys. These are the Alec scrapers, which are sort of carbon steel. They are as tough as nails. These things don't bend at all, and I use them for seam scraping. Okay, so when we're talking like seam scraping, good example is here on Buster's tail. What you would actually do, pick a scale of which one you want to go for. So you don't want to go anything that's too close because you don't want to carve it. But basically what this will do, you will put it down, and as you can see, you put, sorry, we've lost the camera. Get it to go over. There we go. Come on, camera, keep up. Okay, but what it will actually do is give you a perfect line and everything else like that. Now, the thing to that one is, let me just grab the power. I know why it's flicking over. Let me just put some power into that one. Sorry, you can tell it's all live here. I forgot to power up the system for changing over the camera angles and the various bits. There we go, that should be fine now. But what this does, it gives you a curved edge. Because the blade is actually curved, you don't get a flat spot, okay? And it's really, really handy for doing things like we've done here, like the tail, or if you're doing like exhaust pipes, any type of piping whatsoever like that. The thing is, they're quite notoriously hard to find, okay? So the thing is, Patrick has sent me these. Now, these are welding gauges. Okay, so basically what you do, you flip one off, And you can go through these, okay, and pick out a scale of what it is. So technically, the idea is you're supposed to put these over a weld gauge and make sure it's the correct size, okay, and that the weld is correct all the way through. But we can use them somewhat here. Now, this is genuinely a live test. I haven't done this, so I'm looking for a size which is close to what we've done with just Buster just there. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe this size. Okay, we've got one of these. My only thing is, these are, as you might see on these, very, very thin. They're almost sharp to touch, okay? These are definitely not. So my worry is that this won't have an edge on it enough to actually seam scrape, okay? And that is the problem. These haven't got a good enough edge, but you could go through and do them, and that's still very nice and smooth. But the trouble with them is, with this guy, if we come in, as you can see from the bits coming off of this, it will literally cut through it, okay? The trouble with this guy is, it's got no real bite. Let's just do a bigger one. And what it is, it's because these ones have actually got not a nice edge on them. Okay, and I hate to say it, Richard, but it's a good idea in theory, and thank you for sending them to me, okay, because let's face it, down in here you've got multiple sizes, and these are dirt cheap. But this is the trouble, these carbon steel ones as well, you can get cheaper ones of these scrapers out there, but the thing with them is they're very flexible, yet these, and that's full tilt, don't bend. Okay, and they go back to being dead flat. Okay, as I say, I assume it's some type of carbon steel. They do bend a bit if you really give them some welly, but I don't want to bend it and, you know, you either get it shatter or anything else. But they do return back, but they do have a bit of an edge on them. So when you are going in, and as I say, if you were doing perhaps trailing edges as well, something that's overlooked quite a bit, but you can come in and just by up and down movements, it cleans it out and gives you a nice flat edge. And to be honest, I use it on these. I don't think I've actually done this wingtip. There we go, we can do a live demo here. Live on the live show. Okay, but you might see, this is where it comes in. You get a slight little toothed edge on this. And then this guy is, you want it not to have the teeth on here because you don't want to scratch down on it, all right? So you need to go a little bit bigger. So I'm going to just go over here. It's a little bit bigger. And then all you do is rub it along. Good example, we've got like a toothed edge. I'm hoping it's going to be good enough to be able to see this on live stream. But you see, you just go along, and then what I tend to do is go a bit bigger and just rock back and forth. But this is the idea with these. They go through and it's done. But the thing is, it hasn't flattened it. If you wish to use a knife blade and come in like this and just scrape up and down, you're going to end up with a flat spot. This stops you getting the flat spot, okay, and gives you quite a good thing. So down in here, hopefully you can see we've got a little bit of a dip down in there. Again, I think I'm going to go with something a little bit bigger. All right, so I think we're going to go in here. Okay. So yeah, you'll drive Granny mad with the sound, but it's the easiest way I found for doing it. And deburring pipes, landing gear, there we go, good example, perfectly done. It doesn't even need a sand afterwards, okay? And we might as well go the whole hog here, so we'll just do this end. There we go. So you've lost that seam that you actually get, like a burring seam on the front edge, and obviously it works exactly the same with the back. Now we've got a flap down here, so we need a bit of a gap, but perhaps this rear very far end one, perhaps you've got that thing where you've squashed it with glue. Technically normally you come along, but I've got a tiny little seam in between here, so let's pick a little guy here. There we go, and it's gone. Taking it out that quick, that simple. That's why I like these tools. That's why I think they're quite a, you know, a straightforward way of doing it, no messing around and everything else. Unfortunately, these are just too thick and too softly molded or cut. The way these have been cut, I assume it's stamped out, but because it's a thicker metal, it's making a soft edge. So actually it is doing it, as you can see. So if you catch it on one of the edges, this one's not so bad, but some of them, they're just a little bit too soft, okay? So the only thing you could do, if you wanted to give these a whirl, obviously they're going to be different types and all the rest of it, but find the side that, obviously this is stamped, so I assume it's pushed from this side. Use it on the blind side, because it's going to be the sharper side of the two. So let's just try this on the blind side. It's not perfect still, but you probably go this side and angle it in a little bit. you can do it. Okay, so what I would do technically, if it was me, I would do that, and then I would literally come in probably with just a medium sander, just to take out any tiny edges you've got. Okay, and just pop those in. And then afterwards we'll come in with polishes and all the rest of it before fitting. But generally, I can see the idea, but unfortunately in practice, they're not as good, okay? But I think, you know, I don't know, you get it on a lathe, cut it a little bit, just thin it a little bit, I think it might work. So if you have got a lathe and can just draw it in there, as long as the curve is correct and is the same, you could probably put an edge on that, thin it a little bit, make it a little bit sharper, and away you go with it. But thank you very much, Patrick, for sending me these. As I say, I will still find uses for them, because I reckon you could still do curves with them and everything else, using them as templates and anything else that you can imagine. But definitely a bit of a thing. Cheapskate corners we were talking about, it's basically the guys in the forum and everything else just coming up with, instead of paying big prices for branded products, the way of getting things cheaper from other sources. And we were thinking, maybe these could replace these because they're very expensive, but unfortunately sometimes there's a good reason why they're quite expensive. It's not cheap. These aren't cheap bits of metal. I've seen them online where there was a company on eBay flogging them. They were thin bits of very, very nasty metal, and people were bending them, and when they bend they're no good. They've got to be flat and square, otherwise you don't get a nice clean cut with them and all the rest of it. So there we go, that's those. The other thing I've had through, and to be honest, I've had them here a couple of weeks, so that's why I'm doing it today, because I haven't had a chance to speak about them, but was with these. So what we've got down in here is Airscale are at it again, and they've brought us a great product. Okay, so this is basically the modern cockpit stuff, which does get a little bit overlooked, and it is quite handy to have. So actually what we've got down here is the multifunction displays and everything, 1/32 scale in this one, for basically your modern stuff. So it's 14s, 15s, 16s, your teenage jet aircrafts I call them, but also it's typhoons, tornadoes, and all the rest of it. So if we flick this guy out of the packaging so you can see it a little bit more. We've got a little bit of acetate there, which is quite a nice touch for your screens. But basically this is what we've got, and as you can see, beautifully printed. So you've got them either in the off position, the green or the blue, depending what you want. You've also got infills for them as well, in black, green with them lit up. So we've got some various little markings in there and everything else like that. As well as we've got down here your radar warning receivers, and then all your normal sort of analog gauges as you'd imagine in 1/32 scale. This, I can imagine, is an absolute must. Okay, if you're doing them, this is all the ones we've got down here, and it talks about them. So obviously you've got your attitude indicators, and then horizontals, and you know, you name it, you've got it all down here. As well as you've got your vertical indicators, you know, as well as quite, you know, basically I'm looking through this. As you lot of you know, I do a lot of flight simming. Everything makes sense to me. So, you know, they're all there and are done. And as I say, you've got a little bit of acetate here, clear acetate. The idea being is you could put that over the front to give you that nice glossy look, instead of having to do it my normal way, which is PVA glue over the top. Okay, so that one there is your modern cockpit instruments. Okay, very nice to have. The other one they do is this guy here, which is modern cockpit warning decals and the data plate stuff. Okay, so again, we're just that glued on, or it's just hanging there. But there we go, quite handy. Let's face it, how many times have we all been there where you've got things like ejection handles, all the warning notices and placards and everything else, and you wish you had a few more, or just have them in the raw form. I know I have many, many times. So basically what we've got down in here, as you say, you've got your console labelings, okay, for the HUD. You've got your sort of, you know, ejection seat, danger, pull handle, ones like that. You've got your ejection seat on the side, specific warnings obviously on the side of it, the actual data plate as well. So alright, so that's quite a handy thing to have on there, as well as your normal ones. Alright, so as you said, that's 1/32 scale, but I do believe they're also available in 48th scale. Yeah, it's saying here 42nd, maybe even 24th if they get round to doing it. Alright, so there we go, that's those ones. Absolutely fantastic. Again, they're one of those things where I would highly recommend going out and getting them, popping them into your bin. You know, I've got that drawer behind me with all things like that in there, because when you're on a project, it'll be one of those things you'll think, I wish I had. Okay, so there we go. So well done to those. Great job on those Airscale. Very nice, coming a long way. Also, they're a nice small company. We know them. They're great, and go out and buy them because they're well worth it. Speaking of which, I do have to say, sad day. After 12 years of loyal service, my watch, which has been on my wrist, if you've known, you might notice it's not here. has been on my wrist for the last 12 years has finally died. It's sort of working, but it's a bit stop and start and all the rest of it. So we have got his replacement, but I know a lot of you know this watch quite well and you followed it over the years, but it is a sad day. Unfortunately, he has met his maker and all the rest of it. I'm probably going to try and get it repaired. For you who don't know, it's the Skyhawk Titanium. So just to be very posh, I have ordered the Red Arrows one, titanium, exactly the same. It's just the modern version of this one. As I say, this one's 12 years old now, I think. It's either 11 or 12 years old I've had it, and it served me really, really well. And I know a lot of you have asked me when as I do these shows and everything else, because it's on my wrist and everything else. But funny enough, it didn't come out of sleep mode on Sunday, so that was it. Bless. So I've got another one ordered. So there we go. Hopefully, we'll all be good. Put the camera back. Come back, that's it. Sorry about the delay. If you don't know, this is totally live now. This is shooting live and it's upstreamed live. But what I tend to do is I hold it back slightly if you don't watch it live until it's in HD mode, because normally there's about a 30-minute gap before it's in full HD, and then you can watch it as HD. So that's why I sort of hold it back a little bit. The other thing to quickly mention is me and Steve have got our first live Sunday morning show. Something a little bit different. This is me and the Armour God, Steve Stuckliff. You know him from all the live shows and everything else. We're going to be spending 2 hours with you between 9 and midday. Sorry, is it 9 and midday or 10 and midday? 10 and midday, I think it is, we're going to do. For 2 hours anyway, on a Saturday morning live. Okay, so you can join us. Now, the plan is, amongst other things, we're going to try and do some building. So we're both going to build the same kit. So I haven't got it down, I'll get it down. But we are going to be doing the 35th scale Dolphin rescue helicopter with the Coast Guard 1 US markings. Lovely Dago orange and all the rest of it. Steve's going to probably do one scheme. I might do the other. So we've got something a little bit different between the two of us. But we're going to be building the same kit on a weekly basis. Also, you guys can come and interact with us live. You can come in via Skype and talk to us on the channel and everything else. So if you've got any questions, you want to ask me and Steve live as we're modelling and all the rest of it, obviously we want to hear from you. Obviously, direct in the forum, there'll be the usual area be set up for live questions, and we'll get through as many as we can in 2 hours. But also, it'll just be usual modelling topics, what kits have been released, other bits and pieces, but it will be live. Don't panic if you're in the US and all the rest of it. Not only will it be recorded, so it'll be up for you when you guys get up, and be ready for you, but also we're going to probably mix and match some of the time zones so we can do something with everyone. So obviously we'll make sure that we've got the American time slot, so we'll do one Saturday evening so you guys can obviously watch it Saturday morning. We'll also do something for the Australians as well, where we'll do one Friday so they can do it Saturday, and various bits and pieces like that. So the whole idea is everybody gets a chance to see us live, interact. We'd love to have you on the show, and everything else like that. So that is going to start on Saturday. Tomorrow we've got obviously me and Steve again. You're going to get bored of us. We'll be doing our Q&As as well, so that will be live as well, and we'll be streaming in this format, or I will, and Steve will be the other way as you saw it last week, and everything else like that. So there's still plenty of to come. So there we go. Go off and see now part 2 of the actual Halifax build, which will basically get you to there. Okay, and then I'm going to crack on with that, and then tomorrow really push on. I want to get the Halifax together tomorrow is my goal, and then on Wednesday morning I am going to start on the paintwork for the actual 787 Dreamliner and make sure I get most of these done this week. So as I said, everything else. One thing I do want to mention though is the Easter SIG extravaganza, and if I'm very clever, hopefully I've got it down here somewhere. There we go. So we got it down in here. As I said, we've got some great finishes at the moment. We've only got 8 of you finished, but it's going to finish on Sunday. All right, guys. So you really want to come down in here. So we just have a look at one up the top. Absolutely fantastic. All right, we jump down every time. I've really got to change the setting on my thing. Okay, but there we go. 747-400. It's the Hasegawa Eggplanes. Absolutely fantastic. With a little bit of a surprise, he's got an escort. So he's actually got the Thunderbird one as an escort as well. Beautiful job, beautiful display and everything else like that. Okay, so well done guys, absolutely excellent. Terrible jokes every week and all the rest of it. What I'll do is I'll make sure that I come round and we'll obviously have a further look round over the next few weeks, and we're going to have a final reveal of it and everything else. But if you guys, I think there's like 25 of you that are actually working on them at the moment, push through guys, you've only got till Sunday, and then at Sunday it all finishes. All right, so if you're probably in the UK and the rest, most of the world, you're obviously going to get the bank holiday Friday and everything else like that. So time to well, can I do a joke with that? No, probably not. I'm not going to try. Okay, that's it from me. Happy modelling, take care, catch you all tomorrow.